Hello. This third talk will be about the site development, so the study models and preliminary plans and sections, and some conceptual ideas for elevations. So I will open an old file from a student, and here you can see, if you remember last time we talked about how to respond to the site and how to do it like in terms of area or masses. So here you can see that I have here a mass of the project. This is, let's say, the boundary of the project, and you have here some axonometric views or perspectives, aerial views of the object itself. So here we are focusing, because one of the things that you are going to be asked is to do a site plan 1 to 200 and to show us how did you respond to the site. Also regarding entrances for cars, bus, pedestrians, landscape, main entrance, secondary entrance, indoor, outdoor um, activities. So here you can see that in this project here, this kind of rectangular shape was allocated for the public parking, and with public cars path being like the entrance here and then the exit there. So this is the public parking. Then you can see that there is another entrance here from this side, that it's from the staff parking that goes to this part and then also goes around the building. So you can go inside like this, and then you can go out from this side. And here this is the private service path. So let's say that this area here, it's the area for parking, and this is the way to be used, and this is the public, and this is the way that you can use it. At the same time as you see this, you see that there is a division. Okay, so you see a line like this, where the student was dividing the private and service area from this side, and then from this side the public area. Now there's another thing here, that it's the pedestrian path and the entrances. So here you can see the entrances, and you'll see that there's an entrance here. You can also see there's another entrance there. So here, this is the main entrance of the building, that it's located in the main road. Also, there's a pedestrian path that links the parking, the public parking, to the main entrance. Now the entrance for staff, it's here in this point. So from the parking they could go directly inside, and then they can communicate through the interior of the building. And there's a secondary entrance that it's related here to the community, because this is an empty space, the plot here from this side. And furthermore, you'll see that there are two things here. So you have the market and the amphitheater. Okay, so you'll see a kind of small square, and then this area, and this one it's the amphitheater, and this one it's a local market, because there was like an informal market. This is in Hali. There was an informal market here next to the potteries, and this student decided to accommodate the market there to suit the needs of this neighborhood. Okay, so when we talk about the site plan 1 to 200, where you have to show your intentions for the landscape, the different entrances, the different parkings, the kind of division of land, and even the pedestrian paths where you can go from the parking to the place inside of your building, and extensions of the outdoor, you can show them like this. Also the mass of the building. Now you have here a model, a block model that shows, this is not the first one, this is already like a in a kind of an advanced stage. It wasn't like this, I'll show you. So the student actually started with kind of an offset. So she did something like this, like a rectangle, kind of following the boundaries, and then decided to take, a void in the middle, like a kind of a courtyard, and then link and then subdivide more, because she had like different components depending on the analysis that she did, and then she'd subdivide. And then because she had the prevailing wind coming from this side and the sun path, she decided to break down this part. And then because also the main roads were going around this area, she opened up this area for the public. And then she made the, let's say, this area that it's in contact with other buildings from the side, the staff, and then like a kind of a service road that went around to fulfill the requirements for the services and the staff. Now, here you can see that in the poster, that one was in the sketchbook. So in the poster, she explained the development like a diagram. And she was inspired by big architects from the Maritime Museum. It was her case study, and then she developed and she tried to, let's say, develop the conceptual approach based also on that, but taking into consideration the site. As you can see here, there is a plan and it's circulation. Then I'll show you. There's a tracing paper on top, because here what she wants to kind of emphasize is the exhibition area. So in this case, this was a museum. People, they enter here, they start here, they go to the outside courtyard, they go to the temporary, this is the permanent exhibition, and then they go out again. It's like the path they will do in the most public area. Then she highlights the educational area, so they also have different components, and then she tried to allocate the areas. So let's say that if the educational area, it was this area here, and then, so let's do the same for the more public area. So this was the lobby, and this was the cafe area. So this say that this one was the most public area. Don't forget that this was outdoor. And then for the service area, there's a little bit of service area here. And then the administration, it's actually here, okay, related to this part. And here there's the main entrance related with this stuff. There's also some other, like entrance and exits there in those points, because this is the most public area. And what you can see here in the section is that for now, and there's no variation in height, and I told you to try to explore this. Is it going to be flat? Is it going to have, double height? Is it going, to kind of go up and then decrease, or drop down? What do you want your building to be? This, of course, has to do with the type of conceptual approach that you have. And then we'll see inside the zoning, so we can understand. So here we see a little bit of the service area, then we see all of this is private. There's a little bit of service also, also here in the cafe area. And then there's an idea for the elevation. So she has this idea, but it's still, very shy. This is like before, this is not the final solution. In the final solution, she really played with the shape and did things that are kind of different. But the most important thing for this stage, it's to kind of have an idea how you want your elevation to look like, and then the type of, idea for it. So here it was an idea they were doing, like I said before, like a museum of pottery. So she was kind of thinking to do a facade that was made of glass, and then it had like pottery circles based on it to create a pattern. And then people could see what was happening inside in the public area, and also could overlook the pottery factories that are in the other side of the street. Now I think let's see some more things in the sketchbook. Uh, why a life museum, and then why the courtyard, why the landscape area. You know, try to question and then give answers, because she needed to explain and to understand what she wanted in her museum. The same thing, more approaches in the sketchbook. The development that I showed you before for the facades, how it will look like. Okay. And then studying the parking, so how they will approach through the street, how it will work inside, parking and the space needed for each one of them, and for the public and for the staff. In your case, you have, it's a little bit more complex because you also need for buses or small vans. Then some exploration here. She wanted to apply emphasis in the facade. She wasn't sure still how, but at least she had this kind of, guideline that at the end she was able to reach it. But at this stage, it was still in the beginning. So here it shows, like in a kind of a bubble diagram, exactly what I explained before. The administration, and then the service, the public area, the exhibition that takes the core of the building, and then the educational area, and each one of them having kind of independent entrance and exits. Um, Here a little bit more the model. You already have seen this. This is the same thing. So this is one thing that you can try to do. You know, try to kind of define the areas. This will make you understand if this actually, in terms of circulation, makes sense. And things, you know, like those small dots that are here are kind of extensions of activities. So this is outdoor, and also this is outdoor. So those kind of dots, they kind of imply that this area here is an extension for the administration that could use this courtyard. This is a private courtyard. So the exhibition opens up to this side, and this could be used by people outdoors also a little bit, and see the color. So there's a little bit of educational extending outdoor, a little bit also here with the workshops. The exhibition, it's also extended there, and then the public area, because this is the cafe area, it's also extending in this part. So it's easy to understand, and also easy for you to explain if you have something like this in front of you. Now, to go deeply, what will like you to be able to do, even if you don't apply thicknesses of the walls right now, what it's important is when you have that kind of division of components, the ones that we have seen before, is then go to each one of them and be able to put the components inside. Okay, so this is educational area. What is the circulation? How do I enter? Then how is the circulation happening here, and then how does it link to other parts of the building, and then what is the division? Am I providing all the necessary natural light and ventilation for all the parts? Maybe there are some parts that you don't really need the ventilation, but then you should have in some of them, right? So here from one side, then from the other offices, and then the lobby from this side. So as you can see, all kind of the areas are covered from the light and the ventilation from all the parts, like breaking it out the shape like that, make it able to do this. And then again, the same thing, you go to the administration, so you enter, you have the offices in the side, the big administration office, the meeting room, maybe like facing like the courtyard, you have like a waiting area that it's open space, and then you have the more like service area from the administration, when you have like a small kitchenette and WCs, and then also some storage and the mechanical room. This should actually be flipped. The mechanical room should always try to put it in the ground floor and in contact with the external wall. So the storage can be inside, there's no problem, but the mechanical room should have the access from the exterior. Now here, over tracing on top of it is showing in different colors the kind of tracing that you do, like the circulation. How do you expect people to use the space? How will they move? How will they, go around? How they will work? This is also important to show us and for you to understand. So I think I'm done with this part. Now I'm going to show you um, a little bit more examples, just to kind of open up your mind. Some of them maybe still a little bit soon, but I think that I prefer to explain them now, because then you can have the idea of what is coming in the future, and then you can prepare yourself, and maybe you can even do things. So now I'm just going to zap through some models and some things that you could do. So let's say for this stage you could go and do like just a cube or a block model where you assign a specific area, let's say 5 by 2 for a component, and then you try to combine, and with the bubble diagram you know which components will go together, which are weaker and which are stronger, so you can try to come up with the masses, just brought them together. And then because it's not just a block, it's a combination of blocks, then you have the flexibility to try as much as you can. Um, the same thing here. See, this is what we wanted to be able to do. They are study models right now. They are not final. When you are going to be asked to do them for the midterm jury, maybe they need to look a little bit nicer. But for now, we need to see that you are exploring the options. Okay, so don't be afraid to use tape and then to put, pins, and try to use some colors. Try also to do, let's say, the shape of the site, and try to place your building within the site, so you can see what is the place that you have for parking, what is the place that you have for pedestrians. It will be important to know that. So another example of how you could do, the components. The same thing here, a different one, but you see even the material, it's a very kind of easy material to work with. And again, the most important thing is to actually be useful for you to understand what do you want. You could also use this kind, like with a tracing paper, if you have more fluidity in shape, if you don't want to do those 90-degree lines and the walls, you can try to use different materials, like this student that tried to use the tracing paper to do something with curved lines and then do them on top of the plan. You can also go, this is the same example of the other model, but seen through a different perspective. And then before this one, I want to show you. So this is actually the first model. Like this was the block model and the study model for the building. After this, and after like a very long development, so after, let's say, the midterm jury, then the student was doing kind of something like this, because it was using contour lines then to blend the building with the landscape. Okay. Now, more examples. You can use a 3D printer if you have, or a 3D pen. And not a 3D printer, but a 3D pen. I know that some students, they have it, or even if you don't have a 3D pen, but maybe you have something else where you can actually explore patterns, textures, rhythm, and repetition for your project. This could also be used as an example to what is your idea in terms of facade, if you have one, or it could be a shading device, or it could be a mashrabiyya, it could be so many things. The same thing here. So this is not like a 3D pen, it's just made out of cardboard and assembled with glue, and an idea for a pattern for a building. So as you can see, there's a great variety of different ways that you can explore. Now, when I say explore, I mean this. I mean that you'll be, having the things in front of you. You'll be doing sketches, thinking about different things that could be used, and different ways that you can explore in relationships. The drawings, they don't need to be neat. This is the type of architectural drawings that we want. It's not a finished product, okay? I will show you that. These are drawings that you do when you are in the process of architecture, of creating something. Then there's a different type of drawing that you do to explain the feeling and how the space will look like at the end. But for now, this drawings that you are seeing here, this is exploration. The same thing here, you know, closer. When you are doing this, you are trying to find solutions. You are not doing this for a client or for an instructor to understand what you are doing. You are in the process of designing. But when you are doing things like this, then you already developed your idea, you did those sketches, and now you want to you want to understand how would it look, and you want to show me and others how the what will be the behavior of people inside. Okay, these drawings are also okay, but they represent something different from the other ones that I show you. Of course, it's important that in the midterm jury all of you should have this type of drawing from the interior and also from the exterior. There are some tutorials that I'm going to share with you on how to sketch and the type of how can I explain the styles that you can use to express your ideas. Another model, a block model that it was used, very simple, very effective. The same thing here. See another model here with some ideas and developments from the student attached with tape, because always we can cut it, we can glue it, we can, you know, change it at any time. And then this type of perspective. So this is what you should have reached at this stage. Okay, so what is your design concept? What have you learned with the first, with the second, with the third assignment? What do you want to use? It could be in a different way, but this is the stage that you are right now. And then after, you will start to do things like this. You'll start to question shapes. You will start to do sections to understand if, because you could draw a U shape, but that doesn't mean that it's all the same height. So maybe you could have one part of the U that is just one floor, and then the other half that it's two floors. Or this could be a kind of a curve, so it goes in a diagonal line. There are different things that you can reach, but it's important to understand, see that the treatment here is different, and the things are opening here, there's no opening there, there's just the main one. So this is giving us a lot of information already from the beginning. At the end of the year, you are expected, you know, to have, see, this is the first model that the student did, and this is the last one. You can see there's a kind of similarities between both, but you can see the process and the development between all of them, okay? Models are a way to effectively develop your design. It's not just a final product where you show the mass or the volume of the building to the client or to the jurors. It's actually to be able to help you develop the project. This is how we should be using the models. And this is like a model that a student will do for the midterm jury, and this is a model that the student will do with colors and different types of materials for the final jury or for the class jury. For you to also to have an idea of how you can explore graphically, you know, the design. There is here an example of a student that used actually watercolor to do the plan. Also the same thing here, so the ground and the first floor. The same thing for some 3D and some perspectives. And then for the elevations and the sections too. One of the things that I always try to explain to the students, especially the ones that are kind of have more, let's say, difficulties to sketch, is if you do a model, and if the model actually represents your design, if you place the model and then you place a lamp on top of it, a light source, you'll be able to draw it easily than just to imagine it in your mind. So another way that the models can help you. And these are, you know, when you reach to the face, this is not for now, but I wanted to be able to see this. Why? Because when you have a concept and when you are creating patterns, then you have to think about the elevations and how you'll show your party, your idea, your concept through the elevations. And here you can see that there are 4 elevations, all the same elevation but done in different ways. Okay, so the student was exploring what is the best way, what goes more, what works better with my project. And here it's the same thing. So I think for now that's it. I hope this clarifies the things that you need to be doing in this in the second task. If you have any questions, then please send them by any mean, Blackboard, Teams, the channel, or through email. Okay, good luck, and I hope to see you soon.